Hey everyone, my name is Penny Zanker, and it's time to reset. This podcast goes beyond just navigating change. It's about new ways of thinking about how you can approach challenges, how you can shift your mindset when needed, create some space and grace for yourself so that you can rethink, recharge, and reprioritize when and where needed. Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Thank you for hitting play and sharing this next episode with me. It's time to reset. Hello and welcome to Take Back Time. My name is Penny Zanker and I'm your host. And I am super excited today to talk about this augmented reality with David Rose. I mean, a lot of people are talking about the future of work and what does the future look like. And so we're going to get a glimpse of that. Let me just share a little bit about David's background. He's an MIT lecturer, author, and serial entrepreneur. He is a 5-time entrepreneur, draws on culture, design, travel, and music to envision the future products and businesses that are sparked by the next generation of technology. And his book, his last book, The Enchanted Objects, is a definitive book on designing of the Internet of Things, the Internet of Things. Interesting. And he has a number of other very interesting books out there. He's also wrote a seminal patent on photo sharing and founded an AI company focused on computer vision and was also a VP of vision technologies at Warby Parker. So you guys are in for a super treat today with David Rose. Hey, David, welcome to the show.
Hey, Penny. Thanks for having me on.
So we're talking about the future and what the future looks like. And I find this very interesting. A lot of people are talking about this, the future of work and the fear of so many jobs are going to be eliminated because of AI. Like it feels like there's a lot of fear about what's coming in the future. And I get a lot of excitement from you. Like I get to feel that there's a lot of really interesting things for us to think about and that can replace that fear. What's your general, are you positive about where the future is going and how technology is guiding us? Or are you in doom, where this is all going to take us over if we're not careful?
I try to be balanced, although I think I'm naturally optimistic. I think what I write in my most recent book called SuperSight is about how these technologies will really help evolve how we see. So in the same way that we've been using glasses forever to kind of correct our reading prescription or visual acuity, we're starting to be able to mix what we see with the naked eye with virtual layers that allow us to see differently and actually visualize faster. So one of the projects that I talk about in the book that I'm working on is something that helps us see sustainable landscapes in a way that we wouldn't be able to see today. So if you just look at a lot of homes, they have kind of wall-to-wall grass, floor-to-wall carpeting in grass, and it's not good for the environment. People use a lot of chemicals to take care of their grass. It doesn't capture a lot of carbon, requires a lot of water. A lot of states are getting people to pull up the grass and put something else in, but they don't do it because they just don't have that imagination to see how the lawn could be different. And so we're using augmented reality so that you can just hold up your phone and see shade trees, natural pollinating bushes, outdoor furniture and lighting. And obviously there are companies like Home Depot and Lowe's that love that ability to have an instant redesign of some part of the world and then have people kind of become inspired to make a change that's both good for the value of their home and also good for those retailers that want to sell you things.
Yeah, that's hugely valuable because in envisioning a house, I know a lot of people will not buy a house because they can't envision what it could look like if they just put just a little bit of work in it, a fresh coat of paint, take a wall down here and things like that. So it's very interesting what you're saying is that we could put a phone up over some of these different applications to help us to see what we're not seeing to get the best out of environment. What are some other applications? That's fascinating to me.
Well, what's happening with the company Home Outside that's doing these kind of algorithmically composed reimaginings of people's landscapes is you need a system that perceives the world. So phone cameras and increasingly LiDAR, which is built into the phone, and then a 3D engine that kind of does the imagination part for you and composes a scene in a new way to give you this kind of vivid data layer on top of the real world. Like those technologies are built into phones today, but one of the reasons that I'm really excited about the category is that increasingly they're being built into glasses. So when I was at Warby Parker, my job was to kind of think about what the future of technology-enabled glasses could look like. It would not only change and become sunglasses when you needed sunglasses, but also have AirPods embedded in the temples.
Sure, I've seen some of those. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Bose makes some. And then also do the kind of mixed reality future where the new information is kind of glued and grounded on the real world. I think what we're seeing now is in terms of just kind of efficiency. Simplest use case for this is navigation, right? Have you tried the new Google View, AR view, where you just hold up the phone and it kind of puts big signs on the world and allows you to see through the camera and then says like, you might be disoriented because you just popped out of the subway, but this is the way you need to go in order to get to your next meeting. That's a very kind of situational awareness application of the technology. But I think the next one that's really coming is a collaboration where, I mean, how many times have you held up your phone to share your view with somebody else so that they could say, like, this is how you fix that, or this is how you adjust the thermostat. I saw a plumber that came to my house the other day, and he was doing that with a more experienced plumber who was not at the house. Saying like, how do you fix this Kohler faucet? Like that kind of remote collaboration and telepresence certainly is coming into healthcare for like dermatology, but also to just like so many situations where you can share your view of the world with someone.
Right.
And then ideally they can annotate on the world and their marks stick to the world.
Well, and it's real time, right? We kind of have YouTube where people share their screens of how they're doing stuff or whatever, but that's seen after the fact, right? So this is live and collaborative in nature, right? So that's the difference. Like these little tweaks as to how things change. So am I understanding that correctly? It's like before the thing we were talking, it's kind of like ways kind of collaboration where people are sharing information. So multiple views, even of the same thing, can be coming in at the same time.
Yeah, I think that brings a lot of efficiency for people because not all the experts have to be present in order for you to get advice on that 5% of the project where you really need a couple of other eyes on whatever you're designing or fixing or repairing. And it might be the kind of most dangerous part of the job when you're up on the pole or down in the water or whatever you're doing. I think that's kind of how it promises to reinvent the future of work is you can kind of distribute expertise in a more ad hoc way.
So if we were to say to better understand that, so like somebody, I forget where I read this, but I thought it was very interesting. It was talking about like how collaboration, how it's grown and morphed, right? So from I'm trying to remember, they were talking about in drawing a blank. So Wikipedia isn't obvious, but I'm thinking one step earlier than that there was a reference that I remember somebody had given. And maybe you have some thoughts about this. And then you've got Wikipedia where everybody's bringing in their knowledge, right? You had Unix and all these like open source type of software that people are creating. So there's a lot of interest in this sort of free collaboration space, right? How do you see those types of collaborations or companies' major projects? How do you see them opening up to collaborate outside of their own company? Like, is that something that you see here, or is it more of public sharing? Like, here's where you see that going.
Yeah, so I do see that there are many new businesses that are parallel with what's going on in healthcare today, where you have kind of getting a consult from a dermatologist that used to take moving your body into the healthcare system, waiting in a room, and now you can do in less than 5 minutes. You can kind of get a diagnosis and a prescription of kind of whatever you need very quickly. But I think that same kind of fast remote telepresence kind of use case kind of works in a gig economy as well, like you say, where it's not only people within your organization, but if you want to do some pair programming with somebody, you want somebody to kind of beam into your situation to help you with a repair or a shopping experience, that kind of help will be kind of more available in a way that's just in time. And the switching costs are much lower. Friction costs are much lower when someone can just beam in.
That's interesting. I guess what came up for me is when you talk about it in the glasses and getting this real time, the idea of how does AI play a role? Because I could envision like what comes up for me is, okay, you've got multiple views. Like how will AI be integrated into this to sort of supercharge it from what we already see today?
Sure. Well, I think AI is really required for powering the perceptual system where when you look through your glasses, you automatically are scanning the scene and you have a scene understanding of what's happening in front of you. You have a depth map, you kind of know what's where. And in order for a computer to be able to kind of see what you see and perceive what you perceive, there's a vision technique called semantic segmentation, which basically just means every pixel in the scene is labeled by the computer. So it knows, for example, we're on a boating application right now, and it knows in the scene in front of you, as you're looking out of the front of the boat, like what is water and what is sky and what is a small canoe that you should not hit, a kayak, a jet ski, not only what is what, but also what is heading in which direction and what
at what speed and all of that.
Yeah, right. And what represents risk. So all of the kind of self-driving car technology, which is trying to create a real-time scene understanding of what's around you to figure out where to navigate and to go and what people and bikers to avoid, is coming to our glasses as well. So that will help us read other people's emotions. It will help us know everyone's name. It will help us to quickly come at a conference to understand what are the commonalities between why you're here and why I'm here and how to approach you. Like we'll have rapport faster.
So like for a sales perspective, you're saying I could like look at you and I could see in my glasses your personality type and some word suggestions on things that would create rapport between us. Like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to get all of that from your face. It could know that you're Penny and look it up on LinkedIn and say, well, the bizarre hobby that you both have is you were both grew up in rural North Carolina and you're both into kiteboarding, and like nobody else in the room is into those things. So there's this idea from data science called least common commonalities. And it turns out like those are the things that create the most rapport the fastest, are that the things that exquisite party host does when they say, David, you should meet Penny. Both of you guys are interested in blah, where it's like some interesting,
obscure, like,
obscure thing that draws you both together. So I think, I mean, in terms of conversational scaffolding too, it can kind of give you tips like you're dominating the conversation, or ask her more about this, or here's a good empathetic follow-up question, or reframing. My wife is a psychotherapist and has lots of good techniques for, for people in conversation. Oh, thanks.
I've always wondered, like, do you feel like you're being analyzed all the time?
I am, yes.
You are. So this has incredible potential in a lot of areas to help us to, when we come back to the idea of productivity, right? To get to the core of what we're looking to focus on and get there faster, right? Achieve rapport faster, achieve our creative ideas faster, and so forth. What are the side effects? Like, that sounds good. Maybe I feel like nobody's genuine anymore because maybe you're just really just seeing this to manipulate me. Like, do we then live in a society where we don't feel like people are authentic? Or what are some of the side effects?
I mean, I think the definitions of authenticity are already sliding, right? Like when you remember people's birthdays, when you answer emails using Crystal on LinkedIn that tells you like, oh, phrase this in a certain way because this person really responds to data more than emotional stories. We already have lots of tools that help us to engage on the right channels with the right types of messages. I feel like it's just a big level up for a lot of us. Like, is it unfair to get to a party with a GPS? No. Is you're just more likely to get there on time? Like, that doesn't seem like an unfair advantage.
But you're not like manipulating anyone. Like, I do think that as a society, and I have no proof about this, so I'm speaking out of my butt on this, but I feel like people are more critical because of all the ads that follow you, and is this person genuine? And people are contacting me left and right on LinkedIn saying these things that they don't know me and they don't really care to know me. They just want to pitch me. I think it's created a lot of that the people are more critical. They're more apprehensive. So I'm just curious, does this make it worse?
I think it gives us more tools, and those tools, I think, can be abused, but I also feel like ChatGPT can help us like get to a first draft faster that we can then make our own. Yeah. It kind of lifts all boats to like a C level, and hopefully that will lift the A levels higher into higher levels as well. There is this notion in computer vision that's the opposite of augmented reality, which is diminished reality. So this is when the AI can see what's in a scene and automatically mask certain things from the scene or swap out certain things from the scene. And I think we all need, in many situations, we need a little bit of diminished reality just to apply some focus. Like, I have 2 kids in my family that have allergies. And if I go to the grocery store, I do not want to see like 90% of what's at the grocery store because it has gluten or it has dairy or it's not kosher. There's like a bunch of filters. And I would just love to not see the things that I shouldn't be buying because it's going to run into somebody's allergies. So I think that's like a good use case for diminished reality. And I can think of lots of negative use cases for diminished reality too. But I think it will kind of give us the strategic blinders that a lot of us need in order to focus on the right things at the right time.
So what would they look like? So the shelves would be empty except for the one thing that I'm looking for? Is that what it is? So as I walk in, like the shelves are empty. I look like I'm in a place by myself.
Well, Penny, like nobody's designed this yet. Like that's kind of the exciting part.
Oh, this is like, okay, this is projecting.
Like, yeah. I mean, I created an app that allows you to pick up something. It's called Better Choice. And you put your phone camera on it, and then it swaps out the one you should be holding in that category, like the granola that you should be holding because it matches your allergy profile. But
I love that.
One way of doing like a search and replace in the world. But
I love that. It's called Better Choice.
Yes. Yeah. It's just a prototype. We're just doing it with Whole Foods.
Oh, well, keep us posted on that. I love that idea because that has so many positive applications, right? In terms of what your goals are. You might have allergies that you can swap out and find something that's within your allergen range,
right.
but
or
also
made locally,
calories and healthy and milk substitute. Like that's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. So it's a faster way to get to the right thing.
Could it also be when I'm watching TV that it says, comes across and says, better choice? Get out and do something, exercise?
Maybe. I mean, I think we kind of don't like a lot of those nudges, so they have to be tastefully done, right?
So interesting.
But I guess the meta comment about that is, I think if you're a product manager or kind of interested in innovation and design, this whole field of like, how do you mix the real world with virtual layers? How do you augment? How do you diminish? Like all of that is a brand new design space that is really exciting for a lot of people who maybe you're just a web developer today or a mobile developer. Like this will be the next platform for computing that will be the next 10 years. And there are lots of tools to kind of start prototyping, like Adobe Aero is one, Apple's Reality Composer is another one. And I talk about
these are for developers?
Kind of tools and techniques. Well, I teach workshops and those tools are simple enough that there's no coding required.
Okay.
You just go to you go to 3D asset stores, you anchor this over images or over videos or over objects or in GPS locations in the world. And you can start to kind of experiment with how to morph the world around. Yeah.
This is so interesting. We could go on for a long time here. Let me back up a second and then we can wrap it back around productivity and maybe that's around collaboration. But how do you define with your augmented reality brain, how do you define productivity and why?
For me, as I'm working on projects that involve diverse teams of people that are making physical hardware, like oftentimes we're doing a camera system, like we're doing a camera system right now for boating that sits on top of a boat. And it has like hardware, software, computer vision, algorithms, some connections to people that make boats, some connections to people that understand GIS software. I just want to get to the team that has the right knowledge in order to come together to make something extraordinary fast. So the biggest variable there is the finding the right people who have the right expertise and finding the right tools and the right data all at the same time and all quickly. So
okay. So that's the definition, right? It's how we find the right team, the right tools, and the right data at the right time, right? To create something extraordinary. So how do we do that? Like, and maybe you've already said it and we're just kind of summing it up. Like, what do you think is the best way going forward to achieve that?
I think we still need better expertise location, which is GitHub is a way, but there still needs to be better tools that help organize the who knows what and how do I find that team member that I need for this 2 weeks in order to build special computer vision classifier that's just good at differentiating between waves and boats? Like, that's what I'm looking for today. I don't know. I mean, the way that I find them is I look at academic papers and conference presentations and LinkedIn and who knows who. I mean, I would love a faster way of navigating that tree.
Right. There needs to be some sort of platform dedicated to people who want to work on projects and categorize and classify their skills and these major projects.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Fiverr is kind of trying to do that a little bit, but it usually does people that have computer vision skills. Yeah.
Yeah. But so take one of those types of platforms. Like there's some other ones that are out there too, right? That have contractors. But I guess you're talking about with a higher level of, I don't know if they have this level of that really have like 3D capabilities and that kind of stuff. But I could see that. I could see that's where we're headed, right? Is there will be those specialized platforms where people will come to collaborate. It's like a project for you.
And then once you find people, it's really hard to have them jump into a project, understand the goals, understand, like there's Scrum methodologies, but it takes a long time to kind of spin up a Trello board with a team as people are just coming in.
Right. Getting them onboarded quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the challenge, I guess.
That is the challenge. All right. Well, I think then we're up for the challenge. I think anyone who runs major projects that are global comes in those types of challenges, right? As team members come and keeping everybody up to date and moving forward, and projects are complex. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. Is there anything that I missed that you feel like we should cover before we sign off today?
One of my hopes and visions for SuperSight is that other people can more quickly and more agilely beam in to see what you see and understand kind of in a more intimate what you're doing, what you're challenged with, where you are in the world. So I seek this kind of holographic projection that will kind of really change meetings. Like you'll be able to, rather than scheduling a 45-minute thing or a half an hour check-in, it'll be more like take a walk with me or observe what I'm observing. And we won't stick to this calendar in the same kind of rigid way that we stick to it now. But meetings will be more like a few minutes, but many more times a day, and where you can just kind of pop in and out of other people's heads. And
you don't want to go there, because I'm going to tell you that's all sorts of worse than what we have today. So structure helps people to focus. If people are popping in and out of other people's focus time, like we already have that problem with multiple chat platforms and everything. I think the burnout that you see today is going to be much worse in the future because there's no turning things off. There's no stopping people. Like, I don't want to say death to meetings because I think meetings provide a structure. So I don't mean to like play the combative.
It's true. I do believe that meetings provide a structure, but it depends on what you're trying to achieve. And if you're stuck, if you like need somebody else to just beam in and like look at your code or look at the mechanical engineering problem that you're having right now, and you just really need like the kind of gig economy model to get somebody to look at that, or 5 people to look at that in parallel and tell them what they think, will help unstick you faster.
Definitely. And I think what you said earlier was the switching cost and the transition cost comes down because you're very quickly into what someone else sees. So I could definitely see the value in that. Hey, I'm going to Slack you. I need to have another set of eyes on this. And then bam, the other set of eyes are there. So I could see that as really expediting the process that already might exist today and just making it a lot faster. I just hope that it's used wisely and that we don't end up in a structureless type of usage where it just creates, like in the pandemic, the multiple chat platforms is part of what's burning people out as they don't know which platform they should be on. There's no rules about what's communicated where. And I think that's part of what's left people kind of burnt out and constantly distracted.
It's true. But if you're in a situation where you're up on a pole trying to fix something, or you're like boating through a narrow passage and you can't really control the time, you need like a little bit of expertise right now.
Absolutely.
That's very helpful.
Absolutely. Well, this was great. I'm excited because this opened up. You talked about seeing what you see. Well, thank you for helping me see what you see. It wasn't really something that was on my radar of thinking about the possibilities with AI. I was looking at different things and how we use our devices and glasses. And I just got glasses. So now I'm like part of the club. So thank you for opening up my eyes and everybody else who's listening today.
Well, I hope you have good focus in the next week.
Thank you. Where can people find out more about you and take a look at the books that you have?
Yeah, so supersight.world is where people can learn about my background. They can look at the workshops that I do and see some of the projects and see some design principles for if you're interested in designing something with AR.
Fantastic. And all of that will be in the show notes for those of you who are listening and didn't get that down. You can check it out in the show notes. So thank you, David, for being here and sharing all that you've shared today. I'm excited about all the projects you've got going on.
You're welcome. Thanks for the conversation.
And thank you all for being here, because without you, we wouldn't have a show. And I hope that your eyes were open today and that you see some of the possibilities of the future, and that you see also what you can do with it and how you can create it, but also how you need to use it wisely and in a way that's going to create more productivity versus create more distraction. So like anything that we look at in the future. So thank you all for being here. My name is Penny Zanker, and this is Take Back Time. We'll see you in the next episode. Hey, thank you for spending this time with me. It really means a lot. If you're feeling a little off, distracted, overwhelmed, stuck, or just out of sync, remember that's your signal to reset. And that's all it takes, just recognizing one reset moment at a time. So stay tuned for more tips, tools, tricks, stories, strategies, all here on Time to Reset. We'll see you in the next episode.